Hello and welcome to my first video. My name is Maura and today I'll be working on a speed paint of a doodle I did in one of my lectures earlier this semester. I'm sorry if the audio is not that great. I'm currently recording this in my dorm room with my iPhone as I do not have a microphone, and the humidifier is going in the back if there's any background noise. I'm also getting sick, I think, so I apologize for a bit of a scratchy voice. A little bit of background on this doodle, I guess. It was during an honors lecture, which is, for those of you who don't know, it's basically a glorified English class. And I don't remember what it was about. Probably Tao Te Ching or something like that. And the lectures are god-awful boring. So I just started doodling because it was the middle of fall and there were leaves everywhere, and I was really inspired by all the colors because fall is my favorite season and I just love the smell and the aesthetic, and I love the cold and just everything about the fall. And I was feeling kind of down at the time. That's sort of where the more somber aspects of this piece come into play. And as you can see on the original sketch a bit earlier, I couldn't decide whether I wanted to do more of an autumn palette or if I wanted to go with a more out-of-the-box pastel aesthetic kind of look. And I ultimately decided on doing a fall palette. I might go back a little later and redo it with pastel colors and see what I think. But so far the color choices I picked for this, I'm really a big fan of. And yeah, today, rather than talk about my process, as I'm not really skilled in digital painting yet, it's mostly flat colors and working with understanding of composition and color work at the moment. I'm not really going to be talking about that, especially because since I'm not going to art school and my self-learning route hasn't gotten that far, I don't feel like I'm qualified to talk about where I'm at right now, as I'm still completely unsure of where I'm at and how I got here. But later on, if I do get better at this and if there is any interest, I can definitely talk about that. But today I figured I'd do a bit of a story time about my neighbors. I am a freshman in college, and my college requires that freshmen either live off campus within a 3-mile radius or they live on campus in one of the residence halls. And since I didn't want to rent an apartment in a town 2.5 hours away from where I live, just out of the blue, like up and leave my home and go be on my own and pay rent, and I'd also need to commute, I decided to live in a residence hall. I'm currently living with one of my best friends of almost 5 years. I love her dearly. She's still one of my best friends, and everything's like going great. We live in substance-free housing because her ex-boyfriend told her that it's really quiet and nice here, and it is. It's usually really quiet and nice, and everyone keeps to themselves. I play with a D&D group on my floor who is really awesome. They're all like total dorks, and they're really nice. And everything was going great. Until maybe last month, was it? I think it was sometime last month. We were just like chilling in our room. My roommate and her girlfriend and my boyfriend at the time were sitting in our room. My roommate was signing up for classes for next semester. Her girlfriend was sitting in the corner doing something on her phone. I was watching a video on my computer, and my boyfriend at the time was standing up and looking over my shoulder. None of us were saying anything. Whatever was on the phone was really quiet. I don't think even I could hear it across the room, and my YouTube video was like talking level at the loudest. Then we get a knock on the door, and we all just sort of look at each other and we're like, okay. And my ex-boyfriend goes to open the door because he's the only one standing up, and it's our neighbor, and she looks pissed, and we're all just sitting there like really confused, like what did we do? And she sort of does this head bob thing, and she's like, just so you know, we can hear everything. And my ex-boyfriend was like, okay then. And he closed the door, and we all just sort of looked at each other confused and exchanging nervous glances and laughter, and we were like, what the fuck was that about? And we think it was our upstairs neighbors because they were being kind of loud. But like even then, it was pretty hard to tell. It's not hard, it's pretty easy to tell who is making noise around here, because since the walls are so thin, it's easy to differentiate which direction it's coming from. And we were just really confused, and they were just like really testy with us for a while. Like that particular neighbor in question, she works in the library, and whenever I would go to like buy something from the library cafe, she'd like glare at me and be like, okay, I didn't do anything, but whatever. And then in the following weeks, they would be extremely loud, and they're still extremely loud. Like they come home at 1 o'clock in the morning, banging around and doing shit. And for a while, they were having sex, really, really loud. And it's really annoying. Even if I think part of it is like the irony that they had yelled at us for being so loud, and then they turned around and they were 10 times as loud as anyone upstairs was. But even if they hadn't complained, it still would have been really annoying. And I'm really excited to not be living here next year. I'm going to be getting an apartment with a bunch of friends, an on-campus apartment. But I really hate our neighbors. I know it's not a very exciting story. I don't have a lot of exciting stories. I'm not a really exciting person. I'm a civil engineering student. I sleep and cry and I do math. I was homeschooled before high school. Then high school I went to a private all-girls Catholic school, and now I'm in college, so I haven't lived a very exciting life. There's not a lot of fun things I can talk about, except like just a bit of a rant, I guess. I don't know. This is my first video. I don't really care what people think of it. I'm mostly just making it for me. Like, yeah, I asked people on my Instagram story, my personal Instagram story, whether or not they would be interested in seeing me make videos on YouTube. And one of my friends was like, oh, do speed paints. So here I am doing a speed paint. And another friend who I went to an art camp with, I love her. She's amazing and beautiful. She's like a goddess, and I wish I could be her. And if you're watching this, you know who you are, and I love you so much. And I really hope we can get together sometime and just like talk and have fun, because you're a really fun person and you're really cool. And she was like, you should do art. And I was like, all right. So I don't really know what I'm doing. And even though I did ask people, I'm mostly making this for me. I guess I just wanted the validation and knowing that, like, I wouldn't just get lost in the void. Like, I kind of want my art to go somewhere. I wanted to go to art school. I really, really wanted to go to, like, Mecca or something and study illustration or animation. I remember my junior year of high school, I would binge watch Cal Arts sketchbooks, and I would look at the ones that were rejected, and I'd be like, wow, they're so good. I could never do a portfolio like that. And they still got rejected, and I would look at the accepted ones, and it was just like so crazy to see like how different their art was, and how there were like differing levels, and how like certain people still like got in even though like subjectively, if I compared them to someone who didn't get in, I probably would have chose the person who didn't get in over them. And it was just like really weird to see like how much it differed from year to year, the judging of these sketchbook portfolios. And it honestly really terrified me because I am terrified of rejection. And so the thought of making a portfolio and submitting it to someone was really scary, especially with something as subjective as art, because everyone interprets art differently. And so that was the initial like pushback I had internally, was I don't want to be rejected. Not that I was going to apply to CalArts or anything. I probably would have gone to Mecca if I ended up applying for an art school, maybe mass art. That's where my mom went briefly. Shout out to you, Mom, if you're watching this. I love you. And I've heard good things. I have a friend who goes to Mecca. You know who you are. Shout out if you're watching this. I doubt you are, but if you are, I love you, and I appreciate you so much, and we should hang out. This video is basically just a mass of me ranting about my neighbors, my personal life, my missed hopes and dreams, and a shout out to all my friends and family. But yeah, and then one of the other big factors to why I didn't want to go to art school was because I was terrified of being the starving artist, and I wanted to do my art for me. And that's the thing about going into a career in art, is if you go into an art career, you can't do art for you until you like get big, if that makes any sense. Like, the art you do for you has to be in your free time, and you can't just like devote your time to, like, the majority of your time where you could be making money, to art you do for you, because the art you do for you doesn't necessarily sell. Yeah, there are people out there who make money off of doing art they love, like fan art and things like that, and they go into cons and they sell them, and that's really great, and I'm really happy for them that they can do that. But it's really hard to make a living doing that. And if I were to major in illustration or animation, I would end up doing corporate art. I would end up probably doing ad design, which I really don't want to do. I want to spend time doing something for me. And, like, as stupid as it sounds, civil engineering is more, quote-unquote, something for me than corporate art, I guess, because I like doing math. Math fulfills me. It's, like, really weird. I'm logical on one end, but I'm also really creative, and it's just an odd mix. But math is really fulfilling to me. And if I can do math every day, and if I can, even if it's something I don't want to do, like if I want to go into sustainable engineering, so like, even if I'm not designing solar panels and wind systems, stuff like that, if I'm designing some stupid concrete sewage tank, I'll still be happy doing it because I will be doing math, and it'll require math no matter what. And I don't have to change the style I do my math in. I don't have to take input on the way I do my math. I can just do math because math is not subjective, and there are no finite requirements on that. It's just math. I need to do calculations. It needs to be this long. I need to calculate the density of concrete I'll need for that wall. While if I was doing corporate art, it would be more like, here, do it in this style, here's the palette we want, use this music, here are the character concepts, but these are subject to change, bring us a rough draft, and we could change none of it, or we could want to change all of it, and none of it you really get to make a decision on, and that's what gives me that disconnect from art that's not for me, is just knowing I don't really have that much of a say in it. If I'm doing art, I want to do the art I want to do. I want to draw something that appeals to me and connects to me and works with me and works with my brain and fulfills my need for like that aesthetic and the mood I'm in that day. But I can't do that in corporate art, which is why I ended up deciding not to go to art school. And I'm just going to do art in my free time. I'm trying to remember where I came off of on this tangent. Seeing if my art goes somewhere. I'd really love for my art to go somewhere. I really want, like, my dream is to be like one of those people who goes to cons and one of those few people who goes to cons and can make a living off of their fan art and their prints. I want to be like, I don't want to be the next Sakimi-chan, because like that's not going to happen. If you don't know who Sakimi-chan is, I would 10 out of 10 recommend you check her out. She's one of my early inspirations. She does semi-realistic digital paintings, mostly of pop culture characters, and they're really well done. She has an amazing concept of color and composition and anatomy, and she gets a lot of shit for distorted anatomy, but it's obvious in a lot of her pieces that she understands the anatomy she's distorting, because a lot of her pieces have cartoony elements and they're like sexualized, because that's what she wants to do, and that's partly what she makes money off of. She has like nude painting things of her depictions of these pop culture characters on her Patreon, and that's something she makes money off of, and I'm like really happy for her that she can do that, and she can do so well, and she's just like that big in mainstream media. But I couldn't ever do that. I could never be the next Sakimi-chan. But I just want to be like, I'm trying to think of an example. I don't know, I guess like sort of Bailey J. I'm not like the biggest fan of Bailey J. Not that I don't like her, I just don't follow her as much as I do, like, for example, Creepshow Art. But like Bailey J, for example, she makes a lot of money off YouTube. She's a really popular YouTuber. She makes a lot of money off her YouTube videos. She sells a lot of prints and stickers and stuff. And I think back when I was looking at doing a web store, she has this video about these stickers she puts together, and she had these really cute Pokemon ones that were just like, I want to do stuff like this, but I never got around to it. But I want to be like that. I want to be able to like make money doing what I love. And I don't know, I guess YouTube might be how that starts out. I doubt it. If anything, it will give me a place to vent about my life, tell anything interesting that's happening, talk about, I don't know, techniques I use, interesting things I saw, rant about the internet, and just sort of like share my art and like put it in a place where I can see it. And I think that's part of it for me. Like, that's why I like social media, is like I can put things I'm proud of out there, and I know other people can see it, and like if other people see it and they like it and they like give me that positive feedback, that's really cool, and I like that a lot. But that's just a bonus. What is really nice for me to put something I'm proud of out there is just being able to look at it. Like, it's sort of like painting something and framing it on the wall and being like, yeah, I did that. That's mine. And that's sort of what the internet does for me. It's like, there it is. That's mine. That's my thing. I made it. I did it. Welcome to my thing. And I can go back and look at it, and I can be like, this is what other people see. Like, it's sort of a taste of like the outside. Like, I put in all this effort, and here it is. And here's what everyone else sees. And it's just really nice for me to be able to like take a step back and look at myself from a different perspective. And I don't know. I guess I'm looking for a few different things from YouTube. Yeah, I don't know. And I guess that's the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed it. I had a lot of fun doing this piece. I really love the colors that I worked with, and it took about 2.5 hours to do. And if you have any questions about anything I did, if you have any feedback, positive or otherwise, feel free to let me know down in the comments. Thank you for watching, and I will hopefully see you again in my next video. And yeah. Only true desire. Swear I'm not a liar. You should dance with me. I don't usually go out this late at night, to the place where the animals go. But baby, I'm here and I'm watching you move. There's just one thing you should know. Girl, you are my fire. Only true desire.